Well, at least the weather was nice today in D.C. Why, hi there, I'm Ron Juckett. Yes, I probably still got some Buffalo Wild Wings sauce on me. And welcome to the DoDCast postgame show for this Saturday, April 15, 2017. The Philadelphia Phillies won this afternoon by a score of 4-2. It helps to talk into the microphone. And now I have split the first two games of this three-game holiday weekend set. Lots to go through, is particularly how Joe Blanton coughed the game up. A 2-2 tie going in the eighth. He hit Freddie Galvis on the foot to start the inning, and then the home run that gave the Phillies a 4-2 lead, an absolute no-doubt shot, which ruined the day for a lot of people and has exposed a lot of wounds. Talking with you on Twitter through the game, and you can still do that at District on Deck. Or if you're actually watching this live, you can do that right here in the chat room. And if it's PG rated, as in don't say anything that you wouldn't, want a 9-year-old to hear, we'll repeat it on the air for you. So a very frustrating game, another frustrating game. The bullpen just gives up way too many home runs. I wrote about that in the series preview, or the review against the Cardinals. It was written about on the site someplace, about just giving up too many home runs and too many runs. And Blanton, he just doesn't look sharp. And by the time they kind of get this all figured out, you're going to be further behind the Mets. I mean, these are the divisional games. These are the ones you have to win. So it makes it frustrating. Rubber game tomorrow on Easter. Gio Gonzalez and Jared Eichhoff at 1:35, Masson 2, District on Deck, WUSA 9, and 106.7 The Fan. So let's go through the line, shall we? 4 runs on 6 hits and no errors for the Phillies. Helps if I hit the right button. 2 runs on 4 hits. 2 of them by Tanner Roark, by the way. The Nats were just handcuffed all game. Hellickson gets the win. Jeremy goes to 2-0. Joe Blanton gets his second loss of the year. And Joaquin Benoit gets the save, his first as a closer for the Phillies. Neris, by the way, looked incredible in his 8th inning. So it was a bench day for the Nats. Wilmer Diffo led off today. Who else did we see? We saw Heisey, who hit the home run for the Nats to tie it in the 7th. Michael A. Taylor, who hit some hard shots today. He wasn't a lost cause at the plate. And Jose Lobaton, who broke up what was a perfect game going through 3 innings for Hellickson with a walk. That was in the 3rd, pardon me. So that's the just not a lot of action. Heisey, as I said, with a home run. As a team, the Nats stranded only 3 runners today. They went 1 for 4 with runners in scoring position. Those aren't horrible. The game-winning home run by Cesar Hernandez in the 8th off of Blanton, which came pretty much as a result of Blanton hitting Freddie Galvis on the back foot. The line for Roark, 7 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, both earned. He only struck out 3, 11 ground ball outs. That's good. He only threw 101 pitches. If it were me, I would have started him in the 8th inning just to see what would have happened. Blanton, his ERA jumps to 6.43 with that wonderful 2 runs allowed to hit the homer, and he did strike out 2 around there. And Albers got allowed to hit, but he got out of it with a double play. He did what he did in spring training, Albers did, got himself into trouble and pitched himself out of trouble. But right now, the main problem is the Nats do not have anyone to take the ball that's dependable after the starter comes out. And this is how you burn out rotations and burn out good bullpen arms, because you got to trust somebody. And right now, they don't have anyone they can trust unless they want to run Coda Glover out there 4 or 5 times in a row. And even that can be a fool's errand too. So this team has some issues. Ricky Keeler was talking to me during the game, my co-editor, and in the 11 games the Nats have played this year, they've only had the lead 4 times to start. That's not really good enough, especially for a team whose offense is as good as the Nats can be. So they're not aggressive early on in the game. I mean, yes, they face Hellickson twice, and they're getting number one pitchers here and there, but they're not setting the pace of the game. Hellickson only threw 98 pitches through 7 innings. That's a great rate. So they worked him hard a couple innings, but not that. No, Neris only pitched 14 in the 8th, and Benoit got out of it in 12. So 26, and so the Phillies pitchers threw 124 pitches in 9 innings. That's a tremendous ratio. They're not making them work. They threw 1 walk today. Washington did 1 walk. Not good enough. Now on the timeline, as I lost my mouse. Here we go. A couple things that Connor William folks says they had the entire offseason to get dependable arms. Utter failure. Godey's nuts say Rizzo had the worst offseason of a GM I've ever seen. Lowballing Mark Melanson was epic bad, which was kind of a surprise that they did that. I think they missed by about $10 million and a bunch of deferred money in that. Obviously we don't know what's going on behind the scenes with this team. But on the surface, it's much deeper than not having the closer. I mean, they really have no bridge to get to Treinen, who hasn't pitched terrible, but he hasn't pitched great. Yesterday being a good example of that. He walked and gave up a hit. He got out of it with a double play, and they came back to win the game, but he wasn't his own best friend in that situation. You simply just can't do that. So the issues that are being addressed, that need to be addressed, is you got to be more aggressive. And I agree with Ricky there. To start games on offense, you got to establish the lead and give your pitchers something to work with. And who do you go to in the 6th, 7th inning? At some point, Joe Ross is going to come back up. You're going to go to a 5th man on the start. You're going to need 5 starters, and you're going to have a couple times a week where you need 12 outs from your bullpen to win ball games. And right now, this is the 3rd game the bullpen has lost. Where are you going to get that from? Who can you trust? Let me know in the chat or on Twitter at District Conduct. Ricky says, saw a quote from Dusty saying the start times have been terrible. Could that be a factor? Ricky, that's probably not a bad excuse. I mean, it's 4:05 yesterday, 1 today, 1:30 tomorrow. A bunch of 4 o'clock games and 1 o'clock games. Once you get away from Florida, they really should be universal starts of like 1 or 2 and 7. I mean, they've really bounced around. And the shadows have hurt, especially those 4 o'clock games. It's a lot like pitching in October, but it's a huge advantage for the pitchers. And the national starting pitching is pitched just fine. Thank you very much. I can see that, but it's not necessarily a case of, but it's the same conditions that the other team has. And so yes and no. Now that we're done with all the pomp and circumstance of opening days, we had the final off day for a while coming up. And then it's the first real long road trip of the year with Atlanta, the Mets, and then 4 against the Colorado Rockies. You kind of get into a rhythm. So I suppose that, yes, it could be that along with all the off days. But again, everyone plays under the same conditions. And so, I mean, you can use it as an excuse. You could even say it's a valid excuse. But they didn't, in my view anyway, they did not sort out the bullpen issues before they came north. We saw way too much of Joe Nathan and Matt Albers and Neil Kotz and everyone else trying to make the roster, and not enough of the guys who were actually going to get the lion's share of the work. And it's come back to bite them. You need to have that regular work, except for Cody Glover, who pitched 5 straight games at one point. Glover, I'm not worried about. His ERA going into last night was 4.5. It's just a combination of things. Anything else on Twitter? No. Let's go through briefly the rest of the day in baseball that's happened so far. The Blue Jays beat the Orioles 2-1 up in Toronto. Manny Machado, I guess, made just grab for the ages in that one. In New York at Yankee Stadium, the Yankees lead the Cardinals 3-1 in the bottom of the 8th inning. Carlos Martinez struck out 11 for the Cardinals and walked 8. In fact, he didn't even allow a Yankee batter to make contact in fair play till he threw his 65th pitch. No one else in the division is playing. I'll just go through the other scores. The Reds lead the Brewers 7-5 in the top of the 8th. Twins lead the White Sox 5-0 bottom 6. And the Cubs, Chris Bryant parked one off the scoreboard, by the way, lead the Pirates 6-2 in the top of the 5th inning. Minor league scoreboard. Syracuse was rained out doubleheader against Rochester tomorrow in Rochester. Top 6, AA. Harrisburg leads Bowie 6-4. Harrisburg got 6 runs in the 5th. Hernandez pitching for Bowie and Ward for Harrisburg. Roddy Reed with the second homer of the game. Potomac plays tonight against Wilmington. Potomac 5-3, by the way. Baez pitching for the Nats. Hagerstown at Delmarva tonight at 7 o'clock. Hagerstown is 6-3. Davis pitching for them, and as we said, Syracuse is 2-6. They have a twin bill tomorrow against Rochester. So that's about it. It's, all these flaws are on display. I mean, this is still a playoff caliber team. How they get there, on the other hand, someone said to me during the game, and I agree with this, this bullpen is a playoff killer. They may be able to make the playoffs with this offense, but they aren't going to win anything come October if they can't rely on people. And that's clear. I mean, Joe Blanton you can't do that. And it's happening way too often. I think, don't hold me to this, but that was the 9th home run of the year. The bullpen is, no, I can't be right. The bullpen's been bad. So tomorrow, well, let's see. Today on District on Deck, we broke down yesterday's game, and I wrote a piece on comparing Daniel Murphy to Wade Boggs, who's coming. Quote from Dusty here on the bullpen's home run trouble, it's pretty much everybody, and he's right, which kind of makes you wonder what's going on, that everyone's having trouble. Tell us in the chat or in the comments below, what should have Mike Rizzo done this offseason? There was all this attention to make sure that Trey Turner got to play short, but they couldn't get a closer. See, I'm thinking that the trouble's deeper than just the closer spot. It's everybody. I mean, it doesn't help not to have it, but it's pretty much everybody. So that's what we have today. We'll have a breakdown of this game and something else in our Player of the Week for tomorrow. And then hopefully you and I will spend some quality time together on Easter to break down tomorrow's game. As I said, Gio Gonzalez versus Jared Eichhoff at 1:35. And don't forget to give our friends over at over at the Washington Capitals fan-sided site. Let me get that up there because I forgot the name. What is it? Joy. Stars and Sticks. Give them a follow and root for the Caps as they try to even their series against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And of course, don't forget the Wizards start their playoff series tomorrow. So that's it from us. Hopefully tomorrow will be a better day on the field. And for those of you who celebrate Easter, we wish you a joyous holiday. Until then, I'm Ron Zuckett. We'll talk to you the next time.